Okay, here's your standard run from Friday. It was pretty nice. That was naughty. Good boy. That was good. You got him to turn. I think you were probably just a little too exuberant. And it's impossible to see. It was so hard to film from any angle in here without having something be blocked during standard. So it looks like you went into the wrong end of that tunnel. Look at you run. Good job. Good boy. What? Okay. So you're a little bit better about getting out there and getting ready to go. Still think it could be faster, but this one was pretty good actually. So here you do this pretty good, but what I would have liked to have seen was okay. So he's landing. We can't see because of the wing. He's taking, I'm sure, probably one stride, and then he's lifting off. Right here, your shoulders, I would like to see your shoulders stay facing this way, but you start to move that way. Okay, so you kind of be twisted at the waist a little bit instead of cranking your shoulders like you did. See, this isn't really, this is actually sort of actually cueing that a little bit more. You did do a nice deceleration though, which is how he knew that there was a turn, because you did a good deceleration. But see how he's still taking the jump pretty straight? He didn't really know that there was a turn. And deceleration cues a turn, but it doesn't necessarily cue the direction of the turn. So the decel was great, but if you could have kept your shoulders forward, or if you want to think about facing them into him, and then you kind of pulled laterally, it would have been a little bit nicer turn. I mean, he turned, I'm being really picky, right? Because he did turn, but if you watch, he takes the jump straight, and then you can see him, he lands kind of hard, and then he's got to correct when he's on the ground. So, I mean, it was fine. It's pretty nitpicky. The other thing is, if you had pulled away, you could have gotten over here a little bit better to do your front cross and to work that A-frame a little bit, but as it was, you're kind of even with him. You did a great job there, though, of that outside arm coming up and turning into him. That's really good. He was still naughty, but I think what you did was good. So I think if you keep doing that, I think eventually the contact thing will get better. So now here, so shoulders again, right? Here he's landing. He's taking 1, 2, he takes 2 strides before he lifts off. So you had all of this space to cue that he was going to turn this way and not go straight to that dog walk. And watch your shoulders and everything about you. Forward, he needs information now, he needs it now, and everything is still forward. Now you're clapping, you're just slightly pulling this way, and your shoulders are actually rounded that way. Okay, so when he was back here, outside arm up, shoulders turned into him, okay? And if you'd done that, I don't think you would have needed the clapping. If you want to clap, that's great. Just to cue him, to help him know that there was a turn. He's a good boy, and he comes, I think, because you're clapping. But then you get also a little exuberant about the weaves. So I think he missed the weaves. So, I mean, he got that turn. And again, I'm being sort of nitpicky because he got that turn, but I think it could have been, he could have known sooner that he was going to the weaves, and it might have helped him think about the entry a little bit better if he would have known a little bit more. So now here, The tricky thing about this is you got to be ahead, and you are, and you're actually already starting to round to the end of the weave poles, which is perfect. But I did this too on this side. But what had to happen is our path had to be like this, and then an abrupt angle to that tunnel. If we came up and rounded and kind of did this, then they went into the wrong end of the tunnel. So you're already rounding, and it's nice. But and you do turn pretty good. It's hard to see from this angle. One thing I did here was I used my outside arm to sort of push them into the tunnel. But I can see that you're sort of leaning to the left, which makes me think that your path was just a little tiny bit rounded like this, and not like this and then this straight to the tunnel. I don't know. It's kind of hard to see. Oops. So then he goes in on the table, no problem. Good boy. And you're working that teeter contact. I would make him come down farther. I think we talked about this. I would make him come down and do that 2 on, 2 off. You have nothing to lose, okay? You've already not qualified. Even if you were still qualifying, work the contact, because you're not going to have an issue with time. So you'll have time to do it. And then you get him in there, and that was nice. And then you run down this line. And you're decelerating and making him do that. And again, I'd make him stop. You see, he never really stopped. Make him stop. And then you had this issue at the end, because I remember this course, and it was sort of better to run on the other side of the jumps, because there was just enough of an angle. I mean, the jumps were straight, but because the last jump had wings on it, it sort of gave the illusion that there was a real mild inside of the curve on this side of the jump. The other thing is that most handlers were behind their dogs. So when we're behind our dog, they want to curl into us. And then fueling that is there's all this equipment over on this side. So if you were on the side you're on and your dog curls into you, it sees all this equipment. If you ran on the other side and you were still behind and the dog wants to curl, there's nothing but a wall. And so it would have been easier to make them go straight. See, he's even looking at stuff. It was pretty good, Ingrid.